All right, man. Welcome to today's episode, How to Seduce Your Wife. You heard that correctly. My name is Mike Frazier, MD. I am a psychiatrist and marriage coach. I help high achieving men save their marriage. So, a common problem guys have, I just got, a couple emails recently about this, that, um, men, once you get married, sometimes the sex life isn't what you hoped for, right? You're not having sex as much as you want, or it's not as good as you'd like. But most commonly, what I hear is just you're not having sex as much as you would like. What we have to look at is what's going on here. So a lot of times, once men are married, and in particular, if you're a Christian guy, if you saved yourself for marriage, or at least you haven't had sex much outside of marriage, or just were conservative in general, maybe not necessarily Christian, you can kind of feel like, well, look, I saved myself for you, so now like you owe sex to me. Like this is part of the deal. So this is a big time killer for her to be attracted to you, right? It kind of makes sense. And it is sort of a traditional thing to believe, like, hey, like I saved myself for you, so now you need to give yourself to me, right? It makes sense. It just does not work, right? This is what guys are complaining about, is this is unfair, right? Look at everything I'm doing, but we're still not having sex. So I've done different, things about this, how, when we look at our wife in that way, she's more of an object. She is either a vehicle to our sexual fulfillment or an obstacle in the way of our sexual fulfillment, right? Versus seeing her as a person to love and understand and connect with through sexuality. We've talked about the three brains of sex, where there's just that physical drive that we have to have an orgasm, right? And then there's that mental, or that more emotional drive to have her kind of validate our self-esteem by having sex with us. Okay, both of those are not super attractive, but a lot of times we approach sex from those areas. And then finally, there's the desire to know her at a deep level, right? But what we haven't really talked about is what works. So today we're going to talk more about that. Right? So what we could call this, right, if we feel like our wife owes us sex because we are like paying all the bills and we saved ourselves sexually for her, I'm going to call that the prostitute approach. Basically, you're saying, look, you owe it to me for what I did for you. Okay. You really are treating her like a prostitute in a way. You owe this to me because I paid for it through my actions or by supporting you or whatever. And so if you think about it that way, maybe it's more clear to understand why she's not super into it. Okay. So men, what they are not doing is taking the time to seduce their wife, right? Now, some men might have developed this skill in the past. Maybe they have had, a lot of sex with a lot of women, and they've, learned how to transition from just meeting someone to having sex with them, right? Maybe in a short amount of time. So if you did develop that skill, you'll kind of be able to recall those skills and apply them to your wife. But if you're like a lot of Christian guys or conservative guys, maybe you really never did develop that skill, you know? And this is especially going to be true if you waited to have sex until you got married. Now, what I believe is that is the right thing to do. That is what God and Jesus ask us to do. But it is a skill and something you need to learn and understand. Like, how does a man help a woman move from no interest in sex to being anxious and wanting to have sex? Right now, of course, she has her side of this. She needs to, you know, be comfortable with her own sexuality and all of that, right? But there's a lot that we can do that makes this happen much more naturally and make it more fun and exciting, and something that is going to be something she's looking forward to, instead of something that's like, oh yeah, I guess we have to do this again because he wants it and I owe it to him, right? Okay. So again, a lot of this comes from, I just bought this program from winggirlmethod.com called the F formula. So the F doesn't sound for what maybe you think it does. It stands for flirt, like flirting formula. So from that, they define flirting as showing intention and having fun. Showing intention and having fun. Because look, when you approach your wife and you say, um, oh, let's just have sex, right? Or hey, you owe it to me, so let's have sex. Like, is that fun? No. Is it showing intention? Sure, right? But it's not fun. It's not playful. So they'll just like go through the day, they'll never mention sex, they'll never do anything. But then at the end of the day, they'll just be like, okay, yeah, let's have sex. Or like they'll just complain to their wife, oh, we're not having sex enough. That's not fair, right? So you got to look what's behind this request. And basically, it's the same thing that we already talked about. Okay. Look, I married you. I agreed to just have sex with you. I gave up other options. I provide for you. So you owe having sex with me. Like you owe it to me. That's not fun. Okay. Your wife, she says, and your wife, she'll say stuff like, well, I feel like I'm obligated. I feel like I have to have sex with you. Right. And that's not a turn on for me. So then guys will feel trapped. They'll be like, well, if I can't talk about it, if I can't bring this up with her, how are we ever going to have sex, right? If she doesn't feel obligated, why will she ever do it? Okay. So, but there is a way out of all this, right? And it's by understanding what helps a woman move from no interest in sex to wanting to have sex with you. Okay. Again, if you approach it in this way of just like, well, you owe it to me and all this, she may feel obligated, right? And she may still have sex with you, but it's not going to lead to more connection, and it will lead her to resentment most likely, and then she's going to avoid sex more and more, right, until you're not having sex at all. Okay, so that's the natural consequence if you approach it in this way and she kind of gives in. She's like, fine, we can have sex, whatever, right? It's not fun. Okay, remember, flirting and sexual attraction, it's fun, it's playful. Then that wing girl method thing, it says it's adult play, and I like that definition. Flirting is, and sex is that. It's like a way to play as adults. So again, another reason it doesn't work is that you're going from cold to hot with no flirting or fun or anything in between, right? You're treating her as an object or a prostitute, like we talked about. It's also showing neediness for sex, which is not attractive. Okay. So when you come, you're like, no, we need to do it. How come we're not doing it? Wah, wah, wah. It's needy, and she doesn't want to have sex with someone that's kind of like a baby that, has this need. Give me what I want. I need it. Right. It's not attractive. So most men think it's going like straight from 0 to 100, right? Like that's how you have sex. It's like a straight line. Okay. We're not interested in sex. Now we're interested. Like, or don't talk about it, and then all of a sudden, oh, how come we're not having sex? Or at night you're just like, oh, let's have sex now. Okay. Or you just don't warm it up. Right. So this is again from the F formula, but I really like this principle, right? There's this idea of cold, warm, and hot. Okay. Now we're going to adapt it because a lot of it's about like meeting the F formula. It's about just meeting girls in bars or online or whatever, but we're in a different situation. We are married to this woman. So there's sort of this cold baseline. Like you need to establish a baseline of being a man who she wants to spend her life with and spend her time with, right? And a lot of guys, we focus a good amount of that our time in the program about that, like becoming this guy, which is the way you do that is you show care and concern, like you're loving, right? You listen to her, you follow through with the things you say you're going to do. You're a partner at home, right? You don't just help out around the house, but you see keeping the house clean and taking care of the kids is part of your job too, because you want a nice house that looks good and you want kids that are happy and healthy, right? So you get involved because that's who you want to be. So when you do all that, like you're at that good cold baseline, right? And from there, this is the foundation. Okay, this is what builds a good marriage. But here's the sad part, right? Most guys think that's all they have to do, right? To get their wife from not interested in sex to interested in sex. Well, if I'm a good guy, she'll be more attracted to you. True, she is more attracted to you and she wants to build a life with you. But what you're not doing is moving her mind and body into sexual arousal. Okay. These things don't do it on their own. And it's sad, but that is the truth of the matter. Okay. So again, guys will do these things. They'll do the dishes and clean the house and then jump straight into, okay, let's have sex. Cause look, I did what I was supposed to do for you to be attracted to me. Right. So they'll just like start asking for sex or talking about sex or jump straight into like touching her breasts or touching her butt or trying to make out with her right away. Right. You just walk up to her and start like trying to make out with her. And she kind of pushes you away, and you're like, well, what the heck? I did all this other stuff. How come this isn't working? Again, it's this idea you got to go through the warm zone first to get to hot and to have good, intimate, fun sex. Okay. So, what does the warm zone look like? What am I even talking about? Okay. So, again, flirting, it's showing intent and it's having fun. Okay. So, let's say your wife just came back from a workout. Okay. So, the warm zone, physically, you could do things like stand closer to her. Okay. Make good eye contact with her. Ask her about her workout. How'd it go? Right. Make non-sexual touch with her. Maybe you give her a hug. Maybe you touch her shoulder or her arm, right? So just by doing those things, you're starting to show some interest in you're sending some clues that you're attracted to her, right? By standing closer to her, by making good eye contact, by touching her, right? Now, with all this, this is probably the big key to understand, okay? Throughout this whole process of going from cold to hot, right? From warm to hot, you want to be building anticipation, okay? So go and watch a chick flick, right? Here's what almost always happens. So the guy and the girl are about to kiss, something interrupts them, right? Oh, some friend came in, they broke up that kiss, right? The sexual encounters, right? So they're together, it's getting steamy, and the police show up, and then they have to break up, right? So these like encounters, they keep getting busted up, okay? Why does that happen in these movies? Because for what guys think is it just should be a straight line. We should go cold to hot, right? But what really happens is you want to build up some, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this, but if you're not, if you're just listening, I want you to picture like a straight line that goes, up, right? Like a sloping line up, straight line. That's how I think it's supposed to be. But really, it's more like a stock market graph or a real estate graph, right? It goes up and then it goes down a little bit, and then it goes up and then it goes down. But each time it goes down, it's still a little bit higher than where you started, right? So it's up and down, but the overall trend is up. So this is how you want to build it, right? So basically, your wife comes home from that workout. Oh, hey, how'd it go, honey? You come up, you give her a hug, and then maybe you say something, right? You say something like, hey, yeah, those workouts are paying off, you're looking like a fitness model here, right? She kind of giggles, and so yeah, you give her that hug, you touch her arm, right? Maybe you kiss her on the forehead, and then you kind of look away, right? So you use that good eye contact, then you look away. You touch her on the arm, and then you don't, right? Okay, you make that comment, and then you talk about something else, right? So it's weird, but like that starts building that anticipation. Okay. So then to get a little bit warmer even from there, you mix in a more of a sexual innuendo type of comment, right? So then maybe, you walk away, you're talking about something else, and then, you bring it back. Man, you're looking so good, right? I'd love to work up a sweat with you, right? Something like that, where it's playful, it's sultry, it's seductive, right? And then maybe you add in like a grab on the waist and you give her a kiss, right? Give her a kiss right on the lips, So again, this is how maybe that would work. She comes in, hey, how's it going? You touch her arm. Oh, that was a good workout. What'd you work out today? Right. Oh yeah, you're looking like a fitness model with all this, right? She kind of laughs, talk about something else, and bring it back. Wow, really, you're looking great. Like I'd love to work up a sweat with you. Grab her waist, give her a kiss. She's like, honey, right? Kind of slaps you right or whatever. Kind of smile, and then you kind of walk away, right? So where some guys will go wrong, they'll just like keep chasing that. Oh, she kind of pushed me away. Now I have to like just go all the way in, right? But instead, you pull away for a little bit, right? And again, this is after you don't want to jump straight there, right? So she walks in the door. Oh, hey, you're looking hot. I want to work up a sweat with you, right? Maybe that'll go okay, but probably it won't because you didn't go warm, right? You didn't get warmer first, right? You want to say first something like, wow, you look really beautiful today. I love it. Like if she's coming home just from work or something, hey, you look beautiful. So glad you do that work for our family. That's great. And also, hey, you're looking pretty hot. Like, and then, the touch that goes with it, like more, on her waist, on her hips, still not necessarily grabbing, her butt or her breasts or whatever, right? Okay. So the idea is you keep this going throughout the day, right? You move back and forth from, more non-sexual to more sexual comments and touching, and you slowly get more sexual as the day goes on. You mix in surprising moments, right? You sneak in that kiss during the day. You grab her waist, right? You hug her from behind. Still probably overall kind of avoiding, breasts or butt or crotch, right? Things like that. Maybe you touch her thigh, something like that. You sit next to her. So then you can move into that more hot zone. Again, you're kind of pulling back, right? You go there, you pull back. You go there, you pull back. So more in that hot zone would be telling her what she does that you find sexy, right? Even more, right, would be maybe you like grab her during the day and then whisper to her what you want to do to her sexually, right? So this element of kind of surprising her suddenly, you know. And again, now you've built this kind of throughout the day. And again, it doesn't have to be the day. This is a long game. You're building up this skill of flirting and passion and bringing back that seduction element that maybe was never there in your marriage, or at least hasn't been there for a while, right? Or maybe, she's walking by and you grab her, you pull her into like the pantry or someplace and you just start kissing her, right? Okay. So these are more in that hot zone, right? And you kind of built it through the day by mixing in these comments through the day. Okay. You can have very direct sexual conversations. Ask her about her sexual fantasies or tell her yours, right? So you build it up, then you pull it. You build it up, then you pull it throughout the day. Okay. So then, even as you're like, let's say you pull her into that, pantry, right? You're kissing in there. One thing, this is from that F formula, you can, when you really feel that desire to like pounce on her and like grab her more, right? You sort of stop, you hold back, right? You feel that desire build in yourself, and then you like go, then you really start kissing her with more intensity. Okay. They call it the lightning bolt. Now, I've done that before. It works, right? It's fun. So, and even as you're like in the sexual act itself, you build up that sexual tension and then you kind of let it go a little bit down, right? You move somewhere else and then you go build it more, right? That's it's that concept, guys. So imagine that thing in your mind, right? It builds and then it goes down a little, and then it builds more and then it goes down a little bit. And it builds more, right? That's how you want to be thinking about this. Now, along the way, right? So this is if everything's working right, your wife is, responding well as you're becoming more sexual throughout the day or throughout the week, right? Or however long, okay? For many reasons, your wife may not be ready to take things from cold to warm to hot. Maybe she just wants to stay in cold for now, okay? Maybe she just wants to stay in warm for now. She doesn't want to go to hot just yet. So if she's rejecting those movements, if she's rejecting you, making more sexual comments, first you want to figure out if you're being very skillful in it, which you may not at first, which is fine, right? Look up some pickup lines, look up some, how to make these sexual comments, adapt them for your situation, right? Start using them. You may mess up at first. It's fine. You're having fun, right? You're learning a new skill here. So if you try something that doesn't work, remember, just relax, right? Try it again another time or try a different, wording or touch or whatever. Remember, you're not needy for sex, okay? You want to have fun with her, you want to connect with her. And sex is a unique and fun way for a married couple to connect with each other, right? It says it's special, right? So look, if you're pressing it and she's not into it, it will not lead to fun or connection. So don't try to force it. Okay. So just back off, right? You're trying to move it from hot to cold or from cold to warm. She's not going warm. Okay, just back off, right? Just say, okay, like today's not one of those days. It's all right. How can I help you? What's going on? You go more to that cold zone, that foundational zone of really understanding what's going on. Hey, you don't seem quite in the mood to joke around in this way. What's up? How are you feeling? What's going on with your life? So you build that foundation again, and then, you can start building back up to that warm and hot zone. All right. So in summary, guys, many married men, they feel sex is owed to them, and that creates this feeling of obligation. Okay. That kills sexual desire in women. It really does. Okay. So instead of feeling like, oh, you owe it to me, and so like, let's talk about it so you can want it more, right? Instead, you need to learn the skill of seducing your wife. Okay. So you build that cold baseline of being a good man, understanding her, listening to her, trying to meet her needs, being kind, being a good help around the house, being a partner at home, all of that. Okay. So then you learn how to build that warm element by talking and touch through the day, right? You don't jump straight from nothing to very sexual things. Okay. You learn how to talk about innuendos. You learn how to touch her lightly in slightly less and then slightly more sexual ways, right? And you build it up and then you cool it down. You build it up, you cool it down. Remember, if you're not having fun doing this, she's not having fun either. This is so true. Okay. So, build that anticipation. You escalate it, then you pull it away. You escalate it, then you pull it away, right? Start less sexual, more indirect, then move to more sexual and more direct as the day or week progresses. Okay. Again, you're not in a rush here. This is a long-term skill to build, and it's fun, right? You're having this play. A seduction can be long, you know. So, guys, this is an important skill. Start learning it, start practicing it, look up or watch some chick flicks. Sounds like terrible, but it will help you see how women want to be seduced, how women want to have that buildup of cold to warm to hot, over time. And so learn that skill and you're going to love your life. Okay. You're going to have a skill that's going to serve you forever. So we talk about this in the program, in the strongman system. We talk about building that cold foundation, being a good man, and then communicating, getting to those win-win agreements, having that backbone to, stand up to your wife, but also having this fun, sexual, flirtatious element, bringing that back in. So come join the strongman system. It's going to be the best $2,500 you ever spent. It's going to be worth at least that or you get your money back. So again, MikeFrazierMD.com, and I will see you there. Stay strong, men. We'll see you next episode.